Hello everyone, it's I803866SX, and we're going to bring to you today another forgotten operating system. I guess you can call it the second edition of this, or second volume of it. Today's forgotten operating system is going to be Windows NT 4.0 Terminal Server Edition. Before I go explain too far what it is, let's go right into it and let's get installing. As you can tell, I am using my VMware workstations. I don't want any challenges that came about in the last video. Alright. So I guess we'd go ahead and press enter. You don't need to do anything beyond the defaults. And this is just telling you about how big your hard drive is, approximately. I believe the regular NT does that as well. New hard drive. License agreement. This part's a little bit different from other NT operating systems. A small difference is that you can go straight to F8. The NT workstation and server, you have to agree to that. But anywho, all this is fine. And if your hard drive is bigger than 4 gigs, you'll have to create a partition manually. So we're going to make a 4 gig partition, because this will initially make your partition a FAT operating system, or FAT partitioning system. Then it'll convert it to NTFS. No matter what option you choose, your file system is going to be FAT. We're going to go NTFS because that's best practice. Regardless, it's been best practice for 20-some years. Let's go ahead and hit enter. And let it do its thing. Not too bad. So now at this point, we got to disconnect our CD drive. This part will be a little bit clunky, but it is what it is. And notice, unlike other NT workstation and server editions, this one's already got Service Pack 3 on it. From the grand scheme of this video, it's not going to matter much because we're going to patch this straight to 6 anyway. And I did the NTFS conversion. Already done. No problem. Alright, so now it's going to ask for that again. So we should be, in theory, able to just reconnect this. Alright. So here we'll just put an organization and name. We'll fudge this Cool. We're going to make this a primary domain controller. Typically, you won't do this because you will already have a domain controller somewhere in your network, I assume. And, well, this is also a futz around video, so I don't really care as much, but normal environments, they have domain controllers already in place. The only one that you really couldn't do with a fresh environment would be the backup domain controller. Standalone would work fine, but everything would be tied to this machine. Just going to make the password 1 for now. By the time this is uploaded, this environment won't exist anyway. I'm going to note of creating the disk. Here I'm going to go with all the defaults. I'm going to go next. I am going to install Internet Explorer 4. Now we're going to install the network components. And I use a network card, so I'm going to go next. I'm not going to install IIS because it's not needed for this application. Although you could if you had something that required IIS, but no such thing needed here today. All right, so now you want to start a search. If you're trying this on a physical computer and your network card is not automatically detected, you go select from disk, have disk, and be prepared with floppies. You saw my other video where I actually did try to do this on some compact armadas. I did have to go through it that way, but VMware Workstation, lot friendlier about that. I'm going to uncheck the IPX SPX. We don't have any Novell NetWare. We never will. And I am going to make this a DNS server as well. I'm not sure if we need it, but we have it. And defaults is fine. I do not want to use DHCP on this network. There we go. Now we got to quickly look this. Yeah, so that's our network on this particular system I'm on, so I'm just going to make it something that's way out of its DHCP range. .127.0.0.1 is basically talking to itself, is what most domain controllers, especially in the Active Directory world, you'll see that a lot on domain controllers. You'll see that entry. We don't really need internet for this exercise, but we'll put it in there. You don't have to do anything with DHCP relay or WINS or routing. Defaults are here are fine. All this information's okay here. Set your time zone. I am in Central Time, so should be fine. This problem will be resolved shortly. For now, we'll go ahead and we'll roll with the defaults here. Whopping 16 colors, 640 by 480. ready to restart. Let's take the CD-ROM, eject the CD-ROM, restart this computer. Not too shabby. And here we're just creating the domain for the first time, but not a typical thing we do, but since I did make this a domain controller, it has to do this. Strongly doubt it's best practice, but for a test environment, for fun, we can let things lapse a little here. After this part is done, and looks like this is going to install Internet Explorer right after this, then you'll have a reboot. May even be 2 reboots. That is if you opt to install Internet Explorer 4.0. May have been something way back in the day that required IE2. I doubt it. Internet Explorer felt like more of an afterthought back in those days, but oh, I had to do that. And it looks like it's going to do one more piece with Internet Explorer, possibly even a second reboot. Still going a little bit slower than I like, but oh, there we go. Did VMware Workstation so we didn't have to wait as long. One of the pieces of software that are going to be, this is going to get upgraded again anyways, because there's another piece of software that I'm going to put on the server that will upgrade to IE5. but this is good to do anyways. I'm not sure if we could go straight from 2 to 5, so I know you can go from 4 to 5 though. Well, I believe it's doing something. There we go. Now we're moving along. And now it's going, okay, it just logs you out after the second time, so we'll log in. And we don't need all the fun stuff there. And we just did this. But anyway, so next thing I want to do is install the NT service pack. So I gotta go get that connected. Alright, so I had it somewhere. Here we go. This would also help if we connected said C drive. Okay, this is a fun little relic from even the modern RDS days. We'll do this to install a program. They'll put the system in install mode anytime you use terminal services or RDS. This program will do it for us automatically. So let's do that. We'll accept the license agreement. We'll let this do its thing. While that's doing its thing, there's a little annoyance I'm going to fix right now. You'll notice there's a clock missing. So I'm just going to put that back. I'll go ahead and restart right away so that service pack can apply. I'll go ahead and do that. All right, we'll go ahead and log in. All right, so next thing we want to do is install VMware tools. It's really an optional feature, but we have the opportunity. Let's do it. And some help file stuff, we can go ahead and install that. Go do its reboot. And press enter again. Just gotta wait some more. It's a waiting game, you gotta love it. And now we get our new display card. And it did install automatically. This doesn't always do that. But results are results. So before an NT, they make you test. Make sure this actually works. It'll get a pattern like this. You're golden. There we go. You can also move our mouse inside and out seamlessly. So I'm going to install a couple programs on here next. Okay, so this one also requires that install mode. This one's not going to do it automatically. If you work with RDS or Terminal Server 2000 and up, you'll know exactly what I'm going to do next. By default, this user mode is in the execute mode. We have execute, install, or query. I've never used query, and I only used install to install applications. So we'll run our Office XP. And this does indeed install Internet Explorer 5. So we'll let it do its thing. All right, so we'll go ahead and restart. There's lots of restarts. So many restarts, such a pain. I'll try to help it along this time. I'll save 30 seconds here and there. Not the fastest system in the world, but it'll work. Log in. And yet again, we gotta install more Internet Explorer stuff. But this one looks like it's gonna go a lot faster than Internet Explorer 4 did. Alright, so I gotta find a product key for this piece of software. Alright, that was right. I'm just gonna install the defaults. Shouldn't take terribly long on hardware like this. And it's going along pretty fast. I believe this is the last version of Office that will run on any Windows NT system. So I don't think 2003 does, even though it's technically supported for another, was supported for, I want to say, 3 or 4 years. NT was pretty much a forgotten operating system at that point anyway. So, all right, Office XP is installed. So I'm going to install one other piece of software here just for giggles. If you're familiar with the terminal services, RDS solutions, you'll understand my purpose behind this already, but if you don't, stay tight. That's all I gotta say. I'll explain that. It'll all make sense soon enough. And we'll go no to all. And now we got another reboot. Hooray. I always gotta wait for these reboots, but hopefully this will be towards the end. There we go. And, well, we'll just do this. This is just we're only doing this for testing purposes anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. Any server farm, of course, that you do build, you usually plan out what you do and what you need to do, and licensing is always something you have to worry about, but I don't have any Visual Basic 5, so we're going to just click yes to that. And this one's taking mere seconds. Requires a restart. Everything requires a restart. All right, press enter. That was so far it's turning into a faster reboot. We are close to being done with the NT server side of things. And maybe I spoke too soon on that reboot. Yeah. I'm not going to install that. That's just a help thing. I don't care about install shield. I don't care about any of that. I'm not going to register. And that's all she wrote on that. So now we'll change our mode of operation back to execute. And we are done with that part for now. You'll notice that I have this Windows 3.1 test. I wasn't going to originally show this, but the copy I set up got corrupted, so surprise, you get a bonus. So first thing first with Windows 3.1, it's not actually a true operating system. You need DOS on top of it. So boot, I've already booted to the disk, so I'm going to go prepare my hard drive. It's a clunky way of doing it, but this is what came with Windows at the time. You'll create a partition. Okay. It's a VMware bug. There you go. Just gotta move the CD-ROM to the up the top of the boot order, because I created a custom CD-ROM for this. DOS and Windows 3.1 typically came on floppies. The next thing you want to do is you want to prepare your drive. If you're doing this on era-appropriate hardware, that will take a lot longer than that flip. And you'll notice that it's a 2 gig partition instead of a full 8. BAT16 only can do 2 gig partitions, at least as far as DOS is concerned. So that's what we're going to roll with. So next, we want to install DOS. And go to defaults across the board. Nice and fast. I'm not going to actually remove the CD because I do want to copy some other files over. While I do have CD-ROM access, so let me get that. I also did try to customize the Windows 3.11, the Windows for Workgroups. I did make that into an ISO, so we will see how well that works. If it's going to work. Where are you at? All right, so let's see. DOS. All right, so now we got to insert that disk back in, otherwise it's not going to be happy. I believe that should do it. It did. Perfect. So there's one other disk I want to copy over, but first of all, we'll hoping to cut down a bunch of work. Don't know if we're going to be successful in that venture, but you don't know until you try. Just got to find the tool. There's the 311 pack. I think this has everything that we're going to require for this. What? Cool. All right, let's go back to C then. So X copy R. I love when it tries to be smarter. Computers have come a long ways in 25 years. There. All right, so I am ready to disconnect my CD-ROM from this. I think we got enough. Oh. Well, there's some prep work I'm going to do here. We're going to go to the WFW tools. We'll install the tools. Easy install. All right, cool. I don't know where I got this magic band of tools from, but you know, I'll take it. And that looks like it's already extracted, so okay, I don't have to do anything with that. I think the other thing I gotta do involves DOS idle. So let me go. What DOS idle will do, you don't tip. If you're doing this on a physical computer, you could skip this part. All right, so I gotta get that DOS idle to run. So let's do that. So we'll put it in auto exact. Remember that file path for. Just gonna take a quick picture of that, because copy and paste is not an option. If you really wanted to take a shortcut or two, I don't know how well it would work in DOS on VMware Workstation, but what else? I don't know where I was going with that, but so all I'm going to do is load DOS idle. If you're using DOS 5 or earlier, you may have to use the other version, but I'm using 6.22, so the later version will work. Save that, exit, and I'm going to reboot this machine. And we got a CD drive, DOS idle is installed, so now we will go on to actually install Windows 3.11, the Windows for Workgroups. So looks similar to NT so far. I'm just going to go with the Express setup. There are 8 diskettes as far as I know with Windows for Workgroups. And here, let's put a name. Don't have a print. I don't have a printer. This is where it's going to get fun. Because you want to install the Windows network. Now we can put a driver on. I have to. Or do I? Hold on. Let me see how prepared I was on here. So to add a network driver, it's not listed by default or installed by default on 3.1. So I'm going to go listed. And I don't know if my tools came with it, but oh, yes, it did. Look at that. Whoever created this disk or ISO saved a lot of headaches. And you're going to look for the Advanced Micro Devices PCNet family. I am going to add a protocol, an unlisted one. And I'm going to go back to the WFW tools. We're going to look for TCP 32B. Microsoft TCP IP 32.311B. We'll set that as the default. We'll remove these two. Let's see how well this works. I gotta give her a static IP. I'm not going to put in Win servers. And we're going to put my DNS server. And my actual default gateway is a DNS server as well. What the hell? All right. I'll let this do its thing. Oh, I don't know why I can't read from drive D. I did disconnect it. That was great. I've never seen this before, but skip the tutorial. Detach the CD-ROM. And perfect. So now, in theory, you should be able to run Windows for Workgroups 3.11. So far, it's looking okay. The security measures in 3.11, 95, 98 weren't the best. And my file manager does open, so that's a step in the right direction. Let's see if I can ping my box. Looks good. So the next step's going to be fun. So it's an optional step, but it's something I want to do or want to show you. It's the SVGA driver. It's buggy, but I'd like to have the 1024 by 768 screen resolution if at all possible. So there is some prereq work with that. That involves this vgapatch.com. But before we run that, we got to get a DRV file called svga256. Windows 3 Workgroup 3.11 and the regular 3.11. It is actually It actually does exist within the installation disks itself. This is what we need, but you can't just drag that over. You have to actually extract this thing. So to do that, we're going to go to the DOS prompt to do that. I think it's either called extract or expand, but we're going to find that out soon enough. It's expand. All right, there we go. So we got that installed. So we're going to do a copy. Okay, that's VGA patch, I believe it's what it's called. Perfect. So now you want to run vgapatch.com. If you're new to computers, .com actually is a DOS application, not the website, but they're both. It's more of a which one came first, the DOS application or the website. It's definitely the DOS application, but the website.com is definitely used far more today than the DOS version. So there's our patch. Exit out of DOS mode and on to Windows setup. This is the closest thing that Windows for Workgroups or the whole Windows 3.11 family has to offer for a device manager. So we're going to scroll up to Super VGA 1024 768 small fonts. And I don't know what it says. Okay, let's see if we can skip that. All right, we got something very interesting going on here. I don't have any other applications open. Let's see if we can exit out of everything here. I hope we can trick this to what, but we're going to find out. What in the God's name's going on here? All right, let's restart this machine. You know what? Hold on. If this doesn't work, I got another idea up my sleeve. One thing I did notice is that this particular system didn't have a 3.5-inch floppy connected to it, whether it was a real one or a virtual one. And I'm not sure if that's where we're getting hung up or not, but we're going to see shortly here. That's it. All right, let's try to shut this down. And since there is one other piece of software I have to install in this 3.1 VM to show what we're all going to do, we might as well get our head start on this. Desktop. Where are we at? TSC client. There we go. All right. Okay. That's making me a little bit nervous, but maybe. Let's try to boot off the floppy first. Let's try to move that boot order up all the way. There we go. This was not part of the. This is a specialty to that ISO that some wonderful person made. So no, can't fault them for not including this piece. I just gotta wait for the login. I have a 3.5-inch floppy this time, so let's see what Windows Setup tries to do. There we go. That's more like it. I think I did that. Now, there is one other thing you have to do at this point, otherwise you will run into trouble where Windows won't actually start. So we're going to go to our WF, or we're going to go to our Windows system directory. We'll do a little bit more of a conservative safety method here. We're going to rename this to .old. Because you actually need the patched driver, which we created 5 minutes ago. Even with this, there is a side effect. So that's done. We will exit Windows. We will end our current session. And you'll see the glitch shortly. Or not. All right. I have no idea why in the world that's stuck there for so long. Maybe we just had an abnormality here. We'll give that a minute or two. Alright, so this is not happy. So I should have made a snapshot before I did this, but, well, what are you going to do? So basically I have to undo what I did here. I don't remember what the file was exactly. There was a file that started with a P that controlled all this in 3.11 and all the 16-bit families of Windows. I don't know if it's... Let's try that one. Nope, it ain't that one. I'm going to try and change that driver back to the VGA. I'm not finding it. Oh. Might be that one. No, it's not that one either. Might have to research this one offline. It's an INI file, started with a P. If you're new to this channel, you've probably figured out by now things are a little bit unscripted here. Well, I do know for sure the system INI needs to be updated. Alright, so let's try Windows and see if that lets us back in. Yep, that let us back in, so maybe I didn't patch the file right. Maybe Windows, who knows what Windows did. Alright, so let's go back to DOS prompt. Let's repatch that file. Alright, so let's recopy that file. Who knows? Heavy 311 in 256 DRB over to Alright, so let's do this again. Alright, so let's exit. let's do this. So WFW tools. Well, I'm not gonna get hung up on that any further. It's gonna not look as pretty, but last thing I'm gonna do with this before I install anything else, we're gonna install this terminal services client. And I'll show you how to create that as soon as I get done with this part of it. Ah, shoot, I didn't need to do all that. All right. All right, so where did I get this from? On your terminal server, I'll go back to that quick. You want to go to Programs. I believe it's Administrative Tools. This is Terminal Server Client Creator.